It's Dew Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Dew Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Not yesterday, last week. We had a short week over here on this Dew Time, but baby, it was hot over here. We started off the week shaking the Monday morning blues with the Dew Time crew, and we talked about the the two men who were in cahoots to kind of dupe the paternity test. Yes, there was a man who had a child with a woman, but his subsequent child, 2-year-old baby, he denied paternity. Well, mom says, I want to go for a paternity test. Well, they took the paternity test and it came back negative. She said, no, ain't nowhere in the world it could come back negative. Well, after they showed her the picture of who showed up to take the paternity test, wow, it was not him, it was his friend. So now they are both facing up to 15 years because they're tampering with evidence. Yeah, when you do stuff like that, they say you tamper with evidence. That's a federal offense. What you doing? Listen, you can't be that uptight about being the baby daddy. Stop. Just stop. Well, that's how the cookie crumbles. Well, the biggest topic was who's more wrong, where there was a woman who went into a bar lounge and she had too many drinks. So the manager took the drink from her. She got to fighting the staff and pulling hair, and the entire staff lit up on her and it flowed outside. Yes, outside into the street. So the question was, who was more wrong? Well, the Dew Time crew voted that the staff was more wrong when it went out into the street. They couldn't subdue the woman and make sure that they held her until, I guess not. Well, that was who was more wrong. Well, our switch tip of the week, let me see if I can get this right. Stop acting like a disappointment. That is loaded. Our topics of the day covered it, which always coincides with the topic of the day. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with these people. But yes, stop acting like a disappointment. God has a responsibility for you. And every single one of us have responsibilities to God. Too much is given, much is required. We have all been born on purpose, for a purpose, with the purpose. We cannot sit here on earth and just twiddle our thumbs. God is expecting us to do some things. So stop it. Great switch tip. Definitely practical. Go back and listen to the true person who gave that switch tip. Well, let's talk about it. Tuesday Church Folk Day rolled around, and oh my, our pastor panel got to preaching as we talk about, let's see, little Caleb Wilson, who had joined a fraternity and ended up being hazed to death. And, it begs to say that we have a responsibility before we leave home. Are we sending our children off feeling so confident with themselves and with who they are that they stay focused? You're going in for an education. Yes, you can get involved with some clubs, but you can't get involved with a club that's going to cost you your life. How important are these fraternities and sororities to these people to join? And our panel, when I tell you, they were on point, on point last week. Oh my goodness gracious, definitely prepared us for so many things that we really needed to hear as parents. We needed to hear as aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, neighbors, loved ones. We just really just loaded with our responsibility to our young people. Man, they preached up a storm, but nothing topped Wednesday. We had, if you will, Battle of the Sexes. Yes, we did. And thanks to, I believe his name is Brian, who set this chat room off when he said that after we told the story of the couple who was in Walmart arguing over money and baby wipes. Well, the male got mad. Dad got mad. Mom and dad were fighting. Dad got mad and took the baby, put him in the middle of the intersection, got back in his car and killed the baby, drove over the baby. Yeah. And Brian said it was the woman's fault. Well, baby, did it set this room afire? Well, nothing set the room afire more than when we said, stop having sex. Oh, that really did it for Mr. Brian. Yes. But you know what? Here's what really just kind of pounded in my head. You know, he said, I can't wait to get to church on Sunday so we can have this debate. Well, I am dying to know how that debate went because church teaches abstinence. Well, no matter what, the first thing off the rip is abstinence. We just said stop having sex because it clouds your judgment. You can't even think straight. And that didn't go over very well. But definitely the Lord God himself, Jesus himself, teaches abstinence for many reasons. But one of the main reasons is because most times we're just really not ready. Just like I gave as an example, listen, no matter how great this relationship is going, once y'all get in the bed and just tears everything up, ain't nobody listening no more. People talk about other stuff. Nobody wants to hear that stuff that you're talking about. But Brother Ainsley said it best when he said, listen, when you're out of alignment with God's design, it starts off wrong. Nothing will go right. And you may think it's going right because it may not be so bad. But is it what God wants? Well, the answer is no, because God is a God of decency and order. So, baby, it was so good. We went 3 hours on Wednesday. So in 3 days, we filled up for all 5 days. We are off for the extended holidays because people are traveling. The due time crew need to get a little extra sleep, and we're going to allow for that. And we just played it out just like that. So, I am excited to get this short week started. Today, we are shaking the Monday morning blues all over again. Thank you so much for all of you who are saying good morning to me. And give me a minute and I will come back and I will say good morning to you as well. All right. So make sure you keep on checking in and go get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that it's due time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
I got something to say. Anybody that come across this video, please share. I just wanted to bring awareness. Parents, did y'all know that it was a challenge on this platform called the Blue Whale Challenge? And what it is it's a list of things for kids. Kids are following this challenge. And it's a list of things, horrible things, some harmful, they're telling the kids to do to themselves. Like, one of the things is to slit their wrists. When they get to the last thing, it's telling them to unalive themselves. So, it could be anybody, kids. It could be my kid, your cousin, anybody. Please share this video, y'all, so we can bring awareness to parents that aren't aware of what's going on. Check your kids' phones. Please check their phones, because we know, kids love to do challenges, and they might like, oh, this is a new challenge, and might try it. So I'm just trying to bring awareness, to parents to check their kids' phones and see what they're doing, because it's a blue whale challenge on this platform, and it's telling our kids to do horrible things to themselves, and it's awful. So please share this video. Please share. Thank you. I got
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. I'm hearing, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, Shantice. Because I don't know if you can hear me. I'm talking, I can't hear, but again, all right, Shantice says yes, she can hear me. Thank you very much. All right, welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And we are shaking the Monday morning blues. Yo, this world is crazy. Did you check out that PSA? We're going to talk about that thing. We're going to talk about that thing with our Due Time crew and see if we can get some stuff going on. Today's Relationship Monday, as well as shaking the Monday morning blues. So it's definitely appropriate for us to go through those that PSA. That's scary. But in the meantime, in between time, let's say good morning to you and me. If you're in the room, the only way I know you're in the room is if you give me a shout out. So please make sure you give me a shout out. I've seen a whole bunch of new names. Thank you so much for saying good morning to me. I hope you hang out with us today. You just don't drop in and drop out. And I can't wait to talk with you and to you. Let's say good morning to our girl Ketty. Hey Ketty, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got a check-in from our girl Brenda. Good morning. Good morning. I know you're enjoying this time that you can be on the inside because it's quite cold outside, but thank you so much to the school and guards of the world. Thank you. If it weren't for you, our kids would not be safe. Thank you so much. Giving you a shout out from all of the parents, the neighbors, and everybody else. We got a check-in from our girl, Tamika. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope we see you on the inside of this room in a little while. Yeah, she said, I just saw this. My goodness. Yeah, this is crazy. All right. We got a check-in from our girl, Vivian. Good morning, Viv. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And my iPad is not catching up with all of the good mornings in the room. So let me see if I can catch up here. We got a check-in from JJ Yaps. I'm sorry, this is the way your names are coming across. Thank you for joining us this morning, stopping by to say hello. Stay a while. Thank you so much. All right, we got a Latricia Hillard. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you so much. We got a check-in from our girl Molly. Thank you so much. Sully, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the compliments. I thank you so much. What is my biggest regret in life? Not following what God put before me. Yeah, he gave me a plan and I went and I did my own thing. That was my biggest. But thank God that he sent the Redeemer, because I'm here to talk to you today. Thank you so much. All right, we got Maxwell. Well, good morning. I don't know. The PSA is 15 years ago. I don't know. All righty. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Okay. We're going to get rid of anything that's not positive here. Okay. I'm just letting you know, when you check in, when you comment, you're going to have to come with something clean. You're going to have to come with something positive, because this is a positive channel. We will delete anything that does not come across, because we're showing love here. We showing love, we giving love, and we expect love back. This Malia, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All righty. We got to check in from our girl Viv. Hey Viv, thank you so much for joining us. And we got to say good morning to the ladies that make sure we are held down each and every day. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey Shantice. Let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Hey Anika. Thank you so much for joining us. And making sure we're held down every day. So we got our health tip of the morning. So thank you so much. All right. Let's see. We got our health tip today that talks about the food that prevents memory loss. All right. So make sure you get your pens and papers out, because we definitely need to keep these brains humming, running, and jumping. All right. Thank you so much. We got leafy green vegetables. We're trying to keep those brains sharp. We're trying to prevent memory loss. Let's make sure we eat our kale, our spinach, our cabbage, collards, Swiss chard, romaine lettuce, arugula, leaf lettuce, watercress, and bok choy. You can get these from anywhere, literally anywhere, whether it's your supermarket, whether it's your fruit stand. You can get these from anywhere. Make sure you get your kale, spinach, cabbage, collard, Swiss chard, romaine, arugula, leafy lettuce, watercress, bok choy. Those are your leafy green vegetables to make sure you keep that head pumping. All right. Non-starchy vegetables. That's the next thing on our list to make sure that we keep our brains sharp. All right. Let's see. Non-starchy vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts are full of fiber. Vitamins and minerals are an important part of our diet that supports our healthy brain from aging. All right. It's already going to get old on its own. Make sure you get those things to keep that brain going. Fish. Yes, fish is on that list. All right. We got those omega-3 fatty acids. We're trying to keep our memory pumping so we don't get dementia, Alzheimer's, memory loss, all that stuff. Make sure you get your salmon, your sardines. Sardines are extremely healthy. Yes, quite a while ago, we did a study on sardines, and a lot of people are still saying, I can't eat sardines. It's okay. Just eat it anyway. Eat it. But if you really, really can, get your salmon, your sardines, your herring, your mackerel, your cod, and your tuna. Now, I did come across a post where there are some cans of tuna that have supposedly have less mercury than the average can of tuna. So if that's a big concern of yours, then stop. Don't eat the can. There is fresh tuna you can have. I've never eaten it fresh. I don't know how it tastes. All I know is I love canned. You can also buy tuna in a bag, in a pouch. Yes. So make sure you get the salmon, sardines, herring, mackerel, cod, and tuna. Beans. Make sure you get your beans. We're talking about keeping that brain pumping and running. Make sure you get those beans. Let's see. Any kind of beans will help to keep memory loss down. Okay. They say they are full of protein, fiber, and complex carbohydrates. Make sure you get those beans in you. Nuts. Oh, get those nuts. Again, the omega-3 fatty acids. Any nuts definitely help. Okay, it also helps with your cardiovascular health, means a lower chance of developing memory loss. All right, prebiotics and probiotics, trying to keep that memory pumping. I don't know about y'all, but as I'm getting older, I got to work on the memory thing. Make sure you get your leeks, your prebiotics, your leeks, dandelion greens, your mushrooms. I've really gotten into mushrooms. Man, let me tell you, it highlights anything you make. Yes, white or brown, it doesn't matter. Yes, I've been eating mushrooms lately, and mushrooms are very healthy as well. So make sure you get those mushrooms as that prebiotic. Asparagus, artichoke hearts, and green bananas. Okay, they say very seldom. Green bananas are not plantains. Green bananas are just that. Before your bananas turn yellow, they are green. And they are delicious. Yes, someone turned me on to them last year, and you can boil them. She just told me the other day you can make like a porridge, and I am definitely trying that one. But definitely get those prebiotics in you. Probiotics, your fermented veggies, and that's your sauerkraut, your kimchi, your dill or sour pickles, not the pickles that contain sugar, okay? Your dill or sour pickles, all right? Olive oil is a staple in my house. We definitely jump on the olive oil as much as we can, and they are excellent for preventing Alzheimer's disease. Make sure you get those good fats in you, such as the olive oil. You cannot go wrong. They say olive oil is a definite healthier alternative to margarine and vegetable oil, which trigger inflammation. All righty. Poultry. They say make sure you replace that red meat and that pork with poultry and fish. All right. Make sure you get that poultry, and that's your chicken, your turkey. Make sure you get that in, okay? Avocados, another staple in my diet. I love me some avocado. And you can, oh my goodness, you can do so many things with your avocados. They say avocados are definitely great for preventing Alzheimer's disease and dementia. You can do avocado toast. You can put avocado in your smoothies. Try avocado on your burgers. Try avocado in your eggs. Yo, I started making a, what do you call it? Chickpea tuna, which is like a vegan tuna. So it replaces tuna fish with the chickpeas. I put it in mushrooms and your avocados. Look at there. Filled up with memory loss prevention. Right there. One meal. Tea. All right. Particularly green tea. All right. You want to make sure you go for your green tea. Very strong antioxidants that are anti-inflammatory. All right. So make sure you get that out of the way first thing. Good morning, Serge. We got to check in with Serge, or from Serge. Thank you so much for joining us, Serge. Berries. Antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, fiber, vitamins, including vitamin C and minerals. Your berries are loaded with things that will help to keep your memory loss down. All righty. Now, the foods to prevent in order to keep that memory loss down. You want to prevent sugar, trans fats, breads, pastas, grains, conventional dairy, high amounts of salt. Alrighty? Keep those things on the low end of your plate. Alright? Sugar, trans fats, breads, pastas, grains, conventional dairy, high amounts of salt. You can't go wrong. Alrighty? So that's how we are going to prevent our memory loss. Alrighty. So we've got this Blue Whale Challenge, and we have that it is old, but yet it's trying to make its way into the United States. And let me tell you something. The Bible tells us there is nothing new under the sun. If you watch, things will continue to come back in cycles. All of our clothing, nothing is new. You know, my granddaughter was showing me these pants. She was doing this dress up thing on the computer, and she was showing these low cut pants on a woman. And she was like, I don't like these pants. So she said, why are they wearing those? I said, girl, they call them low risers. Years ago, we called them hip huggers because they fall low underneath your waist. And it shows like the nape of your back. And I'm like, girl, you know how many times some pants have been here and gone, and now they're back. Find another pair of pants if you don't like them. You ain't got to dress your avatar in those pants. Just find something else. So again, you know, these things come in cycles. These things come in waves. And if it's an older, this Blue Whale Challenge is older, it's okay. It's okay. It's nothing better than to set yourself up for being on point on things. And here's the thing, the stuff that I was hearing, I'm sorry, that's not old. That's not old. You know, we have an 8-year-old who, you know, told their grandparent, I know how to kill myself. You know, I'm thinking about committing suicide. I know how to kill myself. I see it on, they show it on YouTube. So I'm sorry. Nothing, this ain't old. This stuff is exactly what is being done out there now. It may not be called this Blue Whale Challenge. That's why I brought up the instance of my granddaughter. You know, she called it something else, and I was like, 2 other names: low risers, hip huggers. It may not be called the same, but it is exactly the same. Now, I was sent something this morning, and the Blue Whale Challenge rules are what they sent me. And it says the Blue Whale Challenge is a purported social media phenomenon where participants are allegedly encouraged to complete a series of tasks, often with themes of self-harm or depression, over 50 days. Well, guess what? Isn't that what all of the TikTok challenges are about? Committing suicide, just not as blatant as some methods. You know, when they tell them the TikTok challenge that tells them to get up on the train and subway surf. That's a TikTok challenge. I saw that on TikTok. Guess what? It's a Blue Whale Challenge. So I'm sorry. No, it ain't old, baby. This stuff here, this stuff is facing us every day. How many kids here in New York, or men? There were a couple of men who died. So unfortunately, it's not even the young people that's going after this stuff here. They are accepting these challenges, and we need to keep our head. I tell you. All right. So it says, here's what we need to know about the rules or the tasks. The challenge starts with, you know, some crazy tasks, such as watching a horror movie or waking up at 4:30 a.m. As the day progresses, the tasks become increasingly harmful, including self-inflicted injuries. The final task on the 50th day is to reportedly commit suicide. You know, again, you know, today's Relationship Monday. And again, it ties in to our relationships. It ties into our relationship. What kind of relationship? Didn't I just say this is what we talked about last week? Okay. Yes, Serge. These challenges are dangerous to our kids. Unfortunately, we're not monitoring what our kids are looking at. We're not monitoring what they're following, who they're following. And, some of the things that, we are, here's the challenge. Here's the challenge that I'm putting out there. Some of the stuff that we're even watching, or whether it's on TV, whether it's on social media, that stuff there is subliminally a blue whale challenge. Because let me tell you something, the enemy is extremely crafty. See, if he tells you to run out in front of an 18-wheeler truck going 90 miles an hour on a highway, you're going to look and go, are you crazy? I'm not doing that. So he's not coming in that direction. He's coming from something subliminal, something that doesn't seem as bad, something that, see how they say it starts off with, little small things such as watching a horror movie or waking up at 4:30 in the morning. What's wrong with that? We all do it. Waking up at 4:30 in the morning, watching a horror movie or here or there. We all do it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But as the day progresses, it becomes more harmful and more self-inflicted tasks. That's what they do. That's what the enemy does. He just baits you into doing crazier and crazier things. And then before you know it, you're jumping off a bridge and you don't even realize you're jumping off a bridge. So we're going to come back to that when it's time for us to do our main topic. So thank you so much for sending this to me, but we're coming back. But I wanted to do that as an introduction to our news, since that was on our PSA. And I want to definitely talk about that. All right. Let's see what's going on. I'll save that one till last, since that's a relationship thing. All right. We've got, I got something that was sent to me of a North Carolina girl who, 13 years old, who was shot and killed by a group of boys who clearly was just messing around. Yeah, she didn't know them. And they say that on the 21st of December, she and her sister were walking together. And as they walked past a tree, from behind a bush, a group of boys fired a gun. And it killed her. Now, they have 3 teenage boys, 2 16-year-olds and a 15-year-old have been arrested. They've been charged with first-degree murder, felony conspiracy. Now, the felony conspiracy is the actual plan to hide behind the bush. They conspired to hide behind the bush and shoot at just someone random. Just randomly shoot at someone. So see, I'm going to be talking about this blue whale challenge all morning. Because see, that's what this is. We simply talk. This is a joke. They get up. Oh, what we going to do today? They're going to get up and they're going to go out and they're going to wreak havoc. So now you done took your 16-year-old self and your 15-year-old self straight to prison. That's jumping off the bridge. That's committing suicide. Because now you've just completely given up your life. I am so tired of hearing about these young people just giving up their lives to the system. Now, why was this a plan? Why was this? So now, not only have you given up your life, but you took a life for no apparent reason. A 13-year-old girl is just walking, minding her business. And you just fire a gun. Aim and fire. This was a joke. Because if they didn't know it, there was no premeditation to get back at somebody who harmed them or made them mad, or, why? Why is this a plan? Y'all don't think that this Blue Whale Challenge, you think this is old? Nah. Wake up. The enemy has his Blue Whale Challenge 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is one of them. Remember, you wake up in the morning and you do something they call innocuous, something that's just everyday thing, something that ain't no big deal. Yeah, we get up and we talk, we, sit down, we have breakfast, we run around the yard, we play, we go digging through our parents' things, we go get a gun, I call my two friends, and we conspire. Each part of the day, it gets worse. Each part of this 50-day period. Nah, this ain't old. This is so sad. This is so sad. So now this family is planning to bury a 13-year-old while the other two families are putting their children's lives at rest. Yeah, because guess what? They can't do nothing for them kids inside jail. Nothing. Because I promise you, at 15 and 16, they're going to be charged as adults. That's not going to be something that they are going to brush off. No. The only thing they can no longer do is sentence to life. I'm sorry, not life, death. They are state by state pulling off if they can sentence to life, because they're starting to pull back off that, because their theory is, at 15 and 16 years old, their minds haven't developed as much, so they can only be held accountable to a certain degree. Are you serious? Nah, I'm not playing this game. I am not playing this game as to whether they really knew or understood what they were doing. Yes, you did. You did. This is real. This is reality. This ain't no video game. This is real. You pull it. Everybody knows gun kills. If you fire a gun, it can kill. Everybody knows that. And if you are aware of that piece right there, then you already know what you're doing. Let's see what else the news is talking about. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, we got an update. On our kids. You remember in Chicago a month or so ago, we watched the video of the kids who attacked the mother going home with her two children. Yep. So they have charged 3 10-year-old boys, 1 10-year-old girl, an 11-year-old girl, a 12-year-old boy, and 1 13-year-old girl. Alrighty. Now let me see what they charged them with, because I'm dying. I'm trying to see. Now here's the problem as we follow this story. So the little boy who was the son who was attacked, the mother had been complaining to the school that they had been bullying her son. See, all the while the story has been told, it seems as though this has been disconnected from the school, that these kids just picked up. But I said to someone, I said, nah, this didn't just start here. No, that's probably one of the reasons why she was walking them home. Well, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, she claims that when she would go to the school, after she made the initial complaint to see what they were doing, she said that they would go to tell security if they see her, that we not here. How you do that? How? I hope that these kids are not the only people who are being held on some level of charge. So you have the Chicago Teachers Union making a statement We're as saddened as anyone to see parents and students suffer violence. Every family should show up to school knowing they'll be safe, loved, and cared for, and every educator and community member should be equipped with the resources to foster a beloved community. What has proven to effectively work to reduce violence in our communities and at schools is exactly what is missing from bright, safe passage workers, restorative justice coordination, and after-school programming that engages young people and nurtures their interests. The children responsible for this should not be, let me make sure I put this word in there. The children responsible for this violence should not be imprisoned, but they need a very hard lesson on how the real world works. So somebody need to help me with this. So they shouldn't be imprisoned, but they need a very hard lesson on how the real world works. So let me talk to my DEW time crew, because I'm trying to hear. I got some things that come to my own brain. How are we going to handle these 7 kids? So again, let me give you their ages. 3 10-year-olds, 3 10-year-old boys, 1 10-year-old girl, an 11-year-old girl, 12-year-old boy, and a 13-year-old girl. Where's my girl, Tamika? Let's say good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday. How are you today?
You're not hearing. Hold on. Let me see something. I couldn't hear any of the music, but I just thought that it was me. Alrighty. Tamika, let me see if I can hear you.
Good morning.
Okay. I can hear you. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. I am well. Let's go back to some of this stuff here. But before we do that, because I want to tie that into our Blue Whale Challenge, let's talk about this Chicago, these kids. And the Chicago Teachers Union that made this statement, and they say that the children responsible for this violence should not be imprisoned, but they need a very hard lesson on how the real world works. First of all, let me ask you, is there a difference between prison and how the real world works? Because they are making a distinction here. For you, is there a difference?
As soon as you said that whole statement, and I'm glad you repeated it, I was saying to myself, so when people do things and there's repercussions, don't they go to prison? So isn't that how the real world works? When you do something, let's go back to the day when they said don't do the crime if you can't do the time. How are we supposed to show these children what real life looks like? If what kind of hard repercussions can you give them at 10 years old? Wash an extra dish, stay in their room, keep them from their games. That's what people do on a daily basis.
Stop talking. I'm having a great difficulty today. Okay, let me see if I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Thank you. Okay, so I stopped hearing when you said, start all over again.
All right.
Start all over again. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So my thing is, when you first said the whole entire statement of how the real world works, I'm like, okay, so the whole statement of don't do the crime if you can't do the time. What does that mean? That's exactly what that means. And at 10 and 11 years old, 12 years old, what kind of repercussions do you give them? Washing up the dish, stay away from your, stay away from your social media, that type of thing. That's not punishment. Listen, lock these little boogers up.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is crazy. This is crazy. So my question to you becomes, if we do not imprison them, then what do we do?
That's exactly my question, because it's like, what else can you do? Okay, fine, you take them from their social media. They can't hang out. Boo-hoo. For some children, that works. For other children, not. What you sweep the streets, do real hard labor. I remember Scared Straight. Do we need to go to that realm? Because that's one thing that we know that has worked in the past. And because our children are younger and getting wiser and doing things younger, we may have to start at 9 to 10. Are we at a point now where we got to start at 3 or 4 before you go to kindergarten? To keep you from getting 10 and 11 and doing these type of things? Maybe, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is. I'm hoping one of you have an answer, something that's different than what's in my brain, because I am perplexed right now. I am really perplexed. We got to check in from our girl Trey Marie. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's bring on our brother Al, who works with the kids, and see what he says. Good morning, brother Al.
Top of the morning, chop of the morning.
How are you?
Everything's good. How you doing?
Good. I'm well. Thank you. I'm well. So, brother Al, after we watched the video of the kids ganging up, community ganging, bullying this family. Let's take it out of the context of they bullied the little boy, because they didn't graduate from bullying the little boy to bullying the entire family. So the Chicago Teachers Union says the children responsible for this violence should not be imprisoned, but they need a very hard lesson on how the real world works. So my first question to you is there a difference? Is there prison and then how the real world works? Are they two different things?
That's a good one. I would say yes, they are two different things. I think they are two different things, because how the real world works is I'm sitting there telling you how it works. I'm telling you, hey, this is what's gonna happen if you do this. This is what's what. The real world. Let me show you prison. I feel different on. They should go to jail. You want to really teach them, because the school is only able to do but so much to the children, and that's the only thing we'll be able to do is remove them out of class, in-house suspension, which they sit in a room. They can't use their phone. They're not around their friends. No, that's not the real world. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they should go to jail. I think they should go to like the county prison. Stay a couple of days. This is what happened when you do things like this, and let them see. You away from mama and dad. You can't go to the bathroom when you want to. You can't eat when you want to. They need to go to the county prison for a few days.
Okay. So that for you would be the punishment. Yes. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. Our Pastor KL that's getting himself together.
Pastor Steph, while you waiting on that,
yes,
what these parents don't understand, and what I've been seeing so much of, I really thank God that so many kids look up to me and they trust me and they talk to me. Right now, the rise is so many kids that have joined gangs. I'm guaranteeing those kids are in gangs. There's so many kids are joining gang, and parents just don't know, because like I heard you said a little earlier, they're not watching what they're looking at on, social media and looking at their cell phone. And it's a ton of these kids that's in gangs.
All right. So that adds something extra here for me when I ask you. So you've got some of these kids in a gang. So are you saying that the worst case scenario for punishment for them is to send them to the county jail for a couple of days?
Yeah, to let them see what's going on. Cause a lot of these kids, they join the game because they're friends. They don't understand the seriousness of it. They want to be in the in crowd. So when you're low behind, sitting behind them bars, and you see, wow, this is real right here. You know, that might jar something for you to say, no, let me get myself together. Let me get out of this mess.
Okay. All right, Tamika, do you feel that someone who joins a gang, as Al says, he doesn't understand the severity of what he's gotten himself involved in? Should his punishment, to do county jail?
I'm seeing it from another perspective, because realizing the prisons and gangs, prisons, and cells, there are gangs there as well, and sometimes when you introduce them to those type of things, unfortunately, some of the inmates will give them the good side of being inside, as opposed to what we see on this side, and so, then you get the mindset that you're unbeatable, that, oh, well, I can handle the prison because, that's, they doing it, they doing hard time, they gonna be there for such, not realizing that you don't have access, you won't be able to just get up and eat breakfast when you want to, or move around when you want to. That's the part that they don't see, and so that's my concern with giving them access to the prison life.
So wait, so are you saying that the gang members should go to county jail? That's the side where Brother Al is saying, that's the, wait, how does she term it? She terms it how the real world works, and don't send them to prison? I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Well, I don't think that they should go to county jail. I wish I could find a real rough thing that they could do, that would keep them from, maybe some of the things that we do see, people out there doing, sweeping, our county streets, keeping our areas clean. That's not something that you want to do. Real manual labor, as opposed to going to a county jail. That's definitely not something that you want to do. Here's an area that I just thought about that would be beneficial. I was talking to Al a couple of days ago, looking in our own neighborhood, like graffiti is everywhere. Everywhere. There's a place that they are trying every day to repair. Every day there's a new graffiti out there. You get out there and you paint that. And then you recognize, what's going on in your streets and avenues. You just painted that yesterday. Okay, there's a new graffiti out there. You get out there and you do that.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, let's see what Pastor KL has got to say about this thing. Good morning, Pastor KL.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Okay, thanks. How are you?
Okay.
I'm well, thank you.
Good. All right, we're talking about those kids who we saw a month or so ago who ganged up on the entire family. You have, I think it's the two 10-year-old boys, the 10-year-old girl, the 11-year-old girl, the 12-year-old boy, and the 13-year-old girl. They are now facing charges. And the Chicago Teachers Union says the children responsible for these violence should not be imprisoned, but they need a very hard lesson on how the real world works. So my question is, first, is there a difference between prison and the real world? How the real world works? Are they two separate entities?
I don't think so. From what I've known all of my life, prison was part of the real world. This was what happens when you don't do this. You know what I mean? You go to hell if you don't follow God's rules. This is all part of the real world. In life, you start off with rules, and rules are in the real world. Is it even if you follow? Is either you follow them or you don't. But there's always a consequence in the real world.
Okay. Now, Brother Al says that he would not put the gang members in jail. He would put them in a community jail. Like, wouldn't put them in prison, but put them in a community jail for a couple of days to get, so they can get a taste of, what it's like to be on the inside. Tamika says, no, I wouldn't put them in community jail. I'd give them some hard labor on the outside, such as cutting a tree down, cleaning up graffiti, blah, blah, blah. What say you? What would you give? Because Brother Al contends that there are some gang members who really don't understand why or what they're involved in when they get themselves involved.
Well, I understand both sides, but however, I think that if you put the gang members in jail with gang members, it gives you power. You know what I mean? It gives you protection because we're all part of this gang. So what do you really learn? You're uncomfortable. However, you're comfortable because your brother is here. I think the first thing that they do is strip you of your parents, because your parents are not parenting anyway. Put them in a juvenile detention. Where they miss, having their own room, where they miss having their own TV and being able to turn it when they want to, when they miss, getting on social media, when they miss these kind of things. A lot of times, and I was one, we take for granted of our parents, and my parents put my behind in a group home, and I got straight quick because I missed all of those things that I was afforded to. Because I take it for granted.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Brother Ainsley is chiming in. He said, good morning. The real world has prisons. You disobey the laws and rules, you go to prison. Punishment or should be relative to what has been done. Okay. All righty. That's Brother Ainsley's stance. Let's get our girl Vivian on. Let's say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, we only got you for a couple of days, so we might as well bring you on in.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. You and Brother Al are limited. Brother Al, you going back? You leaving us soon, right?
I probably won't go back until the 12th, January 12th.
All righty. Okay.
I got a little time.
All righty. All right, Viv. So, are prisons separate from the real world?
No, I was thinking the same thing as Brother Ainsley. If you're saying they need a taste of the real world is prison, is jail. It's it's that consequence. You did something that is considered a crime, and in the real world, what you did would put you behind bars. So, despite their age, that's where they belong.
Okay. Now, Brother Al contends all funny. We were having this conversation the other day, Viv. The gang members don't quite understand all the time what they're getting themselves involved in. So he would not put them in prison. He would put them in like a community jail so they can get a little taste of what it's like behind bars. Tamika says, no, that's not what I do. Pastor KL says, no, that's not what I do either, because there's power and familiarity and safety. But I would give them some hard, Pastor KL says, my mother put me in a group home. They stripped me of all of the pleasures of being at home. Tamika says, listen, give them some hard work out here. Show them what hard work really is. What would be your suggestion?
Well, even with the conversation we had the other day about the person who decided to join a gang, I would want to be lenient after speaking to that person. But at the end of the day, it was a very particular event that happened that made them realize, like, whoa, this life is not for me. So I would put them in prison or group home, or take them away from the luxuries they have on the outside, so that hopefully they will be able to see this life is not for me. Because unfortunately, it takes that type of stuff to knock some sense into some people. So if we got to go there, then that's where we'll go. Again, despite the age, if you had enough sense to think joining a gang was the thing to do, then you'll have enough sense to realize, hopefully, that once you receive the consequences that life brings, you'll have enough sense to realize that this is not for me.
Okay. Tremaine says, create a military reform school for certain ages, teaching discipline, respect, integrity, etc., etc. Okay. So here's I will join in, or I will weigh in here. I feel like this. This 10-year-old, 10-year-old boys and 10-year-old girl, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, they were all aware of what they were doing. I'm sorry, this whole thing with you haven't developed enough to understand the consequence of your actions. Guess what? You get a hard lesson. Mm-hmm. You get one hard lesson. You would be, I agree with Tremaine. That's that, and it's always been it's funny, we were just talking about this the other day, Viv. It's always been my desire to open up I think I was telling Teresa, to open up a school for these type of kids. Not a prison for your, but a like I would say like military school, but in that form. And it would merge all of these things you all are talking about. Remove them from their familiar environment, all the comfortabilities of home. Remove them from their parents, their TVs, their games, or whatever. Offer them, you know what? This way your head is? Okay, this is how we're going to handle you. There would be that cleaning, Tamika, but as far as this, they don't understand. Guess what? As Kevin Hart would say, you're gonna learn today. Mm-hmm. You're gonna learn today. I think here's my problem. There are too many games. There are too many TV shows. There are too many programs that do itemize what happens when you commit a crime. I agree with Brother Ainsley. That's a part of the real world. The real world, I've never seen from a kid. I'm almost 60 years old. I've never seen anything on TV from when I was a kid up until now that told me that if I committed a crime, the real world would just have me wake up the next day and everything business as usual. There was always punishment. So punishment is what you would get. I'm not going to set you up with your gang members because there's safety. And, we teaching you how to come up in the ranks and all this kind of stuff. But I would definitely, that has always been my desire to put a school together that would address this behavior and hopefully give them an opportunity to come to the realization, like you said, Viv, this life ain't for me. Mm-hmm. This is just not for me. Sometimes what we see is attractive, and we have to realize that everything that is attractive, as Pastor KL says, there are consequences. So that's how we're going to deal with this thing here. All right, we got this Blue Whale Challenge PSA this morning. Thank you for indulging me on our news, but we're going to push this news a little further. We got this Blue Whale Challenge PSA this morning, and someone in the chat room said that this was old. That this Blue Whale Challenge was 15 years old. So let me just read again what I got as a piece of information for this Blue Whale Challenge. It says the Blue Whale Challenge is a purported social media phenomenon where participants are allegedly encouraged to complete a series of tasks, often with themes of self-harm or depression over a course of 50 days. Here's what we know about the rules or the tasks. The challenge starts with innocuous tasks such as watching a horror movie or waking up at 4:30 in the morning. In other words, business as usual. Nothing abnormal, really. As the days progress, the tasks become increasingly harmful, including self-inflicted injuries. And the final task on the 50th day is reportedly to commit suicide. So we have the thought that says, hey, this is 15 years old. Why are we talking about this? Pretty much. That's the way I take it. If that's not the inference, I apologize. To bring up the age or how old it is, that's what to me would be the point. And someone says, well, this is revolving. You know, it may have come out 15 years ago, but it's still relative to where we are today. So now my question is, when we talk about this North Carolina 13-year-old girl, where she was just walking with her sister, you have two, let me get the ages together. Again, we're talking about these kids here, two 15-year-old, two 16-year-olds, and one 15-year-old hide behind a bush. And when she walks by, they fire a gun at her and they shoot and kill her. So now we're saying that the Blue Whale Challenge is old. I contend this is the Blue Whale Challenge. This type of behavior is the Blue Whale Challenge. Would you agree? And I'll start with you, Vivian.
Yes, absolutely. Because, like you said, this story and so many other stories that we have done with children even younger than this young girl shows that the Blue Whale Challenge is still valid for today. And if this was 15 years ago, this should open up our eyes to see that this is still something that we have to be concerned about today. So regardless of if this came out 15 years ago, we still need to pay attention to it because it's happening every day. If you're on It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, you hear the stories every single day. So it's irrelevant of when it came out to me.
Okay. I just was sent this. It says signs of potential involvement or self-harm issues may include unexplained cuts, scratches, or bruises, particularly on the arms and legs, significant changes in sleep patterns, such as waking up early, social withdrawal or isolation, posting status messages or images related to whales or specific hashtag like hashtag I am whale, or a sudden and drastic change in behavior or mood. So that's part of the change, that in between time over the course of those 50 days. This is the behavior. This is the self-inflicted harm that they are referring to. And although these are blatant self-inflicted harm things, I say, hey, this is still the Blue Whale Challenge in this particular issue, because it's not only isolated to these things that are external. Lady Tamika, would you agree or disagree?
No, I would agree. And the sad part about it is social media makes it so easy for things to get out. Al and I often, there was this, what is that? Bugatti. There was this little scene with the Bugatti and how contagious it was. Basically what it is I'm sitting here and there's a video and you got the song of the Bugatti, and what Al would do would be pull my legs. And like at one point, video after video after video, you see him all over the place, but we've had these challenges per se for quite a long time, and what basically has happened is people are enticed by it. You open up this doorway to something that you have absolutely no access or has never known about it. You get enticed by it, and then all of a sudden you're locked in. And it behooves us to watch our children, watch our even when you don't see, as a parent, watch somebody else's kid, because, in 60 days you could lose your child, or somebody else could lose their child because you didn't see the sign. And how many signs are out there that we're missing? We gotta be able to look spiritually, look beyond what you're normalized to see, and let God open up a doorway for you being able to prevent your child from, doing a task like this or becoming a victim of something that they did not see.
All righty. All right. Taking into consideration what Vivian and you, Tamika, have said, they also say extensive investigations and media debunking efforts later suggested that the Blue Whale Challenge, as a coordinated game responsible for numerous deaths, was largely a moral panic and a hoax exaggerated by sensationalist journalism, while some individual cases of suicide involved victims who were aware of the blue whale narrative and referenced it in social media posts. Direct casual links were never definitely proven by authorities or journalists. So I'll ask you, Brother Al, based on the fact that they're saying that this is just a form of our imagination, that they just threw out this Blue Whale Challenge, but in actuality, it's not really happening. It's just some sensationalized journalism, and they're trying to make something out of nothing. Would you say that the Blue Whale Challenge really exists, despite the fact that they want to debunk that it does?
Absolutely. It's like what you said earlier. This has been going on for God knows how long. You see tons of challenges. It may not have been called the Blue Whale. I remember they had a challenge out with the when the person, I forgot what they called the person standing against the wall, and they take their hand and push on their chest and was stopping kids' heart. Yeah, you didn't know it was. I forgot the name of it, but the child would stand up against the wall like this, and the person would put their foot and put their hand and pump real hard on their chest, and the child's heart would stop for a minute. There was a couple of kids that died with that. There was a challenge where they put the alcohol challenge. They put alcohol on their hand or something and set it on fire and put it under water. Like so this stuff been going on for the longest, and for them to say that make me think that they're a part of this. Make me think you're a part of this. Like it's not imagination. And like Tamika said, they'll put the little funny challenges up and everybody will jump on it. And I remember they had a challenge for the men doing like the push-ups. And once they do the push-up, then they'll send it to the next person. And people got mad at me because one of my boys sent it. He's like, yo, you didn't do it. I said, well, I put a challenge out for y'all to put a Bible verse and you didn't do it. I'm not doing that stupid push-up thing. So it's been going on for the longest, man.
Wow.
It's the pass out game.
Pass out, yeah. It's pass out there.
Wow. Shanti says, I remember that, Brother Al. Stop your breathing.
Yeah.
She remembers that. All righty. Pastor KL, it says that experts found that the reported curators were often other children or teenagers simply participating in the widespread online scare. Some people use the fear and rumors to cyberbully and encourage self-harm among vulnerable individuals. The phenomenon itself, while initially a hoax, led to instances of imitation self-harm as people began acting out the widely reported task. Now, here's my question that I want to specifically ask you. Is this the enemy trying to make us believe that what is real is not?
Yeah, it's a mirage. It looks good, and but for some folks who have, especially the children who have low self-esteem, they just want to be a part of, and it seems like it's cool. You know what I mean? So these are the things that they do. They have no clue the danger is in. And let me tell you something. And all of us on here is around the same age. But this blue whale thing ain't just start. I have blue whale in my house. My mother and father was blue whale. They told me my challenge was, I wish you don't go to school so I can beat the crap out of you. You know what I mean? They scared some stuff in me. Some of the stuff that we're going through, you should be too scared to even try it.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not understanding how, even with the ice challenge, I don't understand how you pour ice on me and that's supposed to be a good thing. You know, there's so much stuff when they were trying to climb something. I think it was the
Milk
milk
crate.
crate,
Milk
milk
crate.
crate. I mean, so if I just fall and bust my head, what's the win from the challenge? I think in some of these challenges, the loss is far greater than what the win could be.
Right.
So why do it? Why take the chance?
Right. Right. We find that kids are much more daring now than years ago.
Oh yeah.
And I
They're
want
much
to
more
pick
stupid.
things. What you say?
The same thing.
They're much more stupid. They ain't daring. They stupid.
Whichever words you want to use. Whichever words you want to use. I'll leave it on the floor. I'll leave it on the floor. But I want to pick your brains. Why are they more stupid? Why are they more challenged? Why are they dumber? Why, Brother Al?
Because
Why?
they want to fit in. They want to fit in. They don't care what the consequences are. They doing it, and it came to me. If I don't do it, they're gonna laugh at me. No, I got to do this to fit in. Even though I know I may get hurt doing this, but you know what? All my friends do it, so I got to do it too. They want to fit in.
So we know that they want to fit in, but why? Why? Again, we go back to Wednesdays. This is Wednesday's conversation all over again. Why are we here? Like Pastor KL said, there were certain things that when we were younger, if you heard about it, like, I'm doing that. You've got to be out your mind. Now, like you said, they're more daring and they want to fit in. Why? Why do you pick your brain? What in your head? Why do you think that regardless of the stakes, as Pastor KL has mentioned, I'm willing to do it? Why?
I'll say for clout as well. They want clout too. You know, hey, I did this thing. Look at me. You know, they want to shine in that light, so-called being that light. You know, hey, I did it and I made it. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, hey, man, I did that and I broke my leg, but I'm good though. They want that clout, something to be talked about, something to post up.
Okay. We got a check-in from Akusa. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We've got Teresa that says, I agree with Pastor L. The escalation has always been there. Now there's a label for it. People actually encouraging them to do it. They don't know the gravity of their actions. Shati says, because of the parents. Kids are dumber now because the parents are okay with being dumber. Now it's a contest. Who's dumber, the baby or the adult? Teresa said,
Amen.
on completely the challenge. All right, Viv. So my question is, why? Why regardless of the stakes, why are we willing to take the chance? Brother Al says, for the cloud.
I agree with Shantice. I was thinking the same thing. It's because the parents aren't parenting anymore. We were not making those types of decisions because our parents would have our behinds had we done that. They would be telling us how stupid we are. Nowadays, the parents are recording the kids doing the dumb things, laughing at them while they're doing it, and encouraging it. So I agree. It's the parents, it's social media, because now this is content. So even if I get hurt, even if I look stupid, I got 1,000 views. So I'm doing something right. So it goes back to, what do they say? Any attention is good attention.
None,
So
right.
they don't care. They don't care at this point. For us, we had parenting. And even if our parents weren't parenting us, the adults in our lives, the adults in our neighborhood, other family members were still parenting us. I don't think these kids are getting that these days. because people are too scared to say anything to these kids because the kids will probably beat you up before you'll beat on them. So I agree, it's the parents.
Okay. Makusa says, take Shantice's phone. Yes, everything is content now. Shaking my head. Lady Tamika, why? It doesn't matter if it says get up on the and subway surf. The challenge is subway surfing. Get up there and subway surf, and it doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter to our young people what the stakes are? Why are we here?
I remember back in the day, probably the majority of us have heard, little Johnny jump off the bridge. You gonna jump with him? Because that was something, and whether we knew it or not, that phrase stuck in our head. Like, don't be a follower, And now we're in this age where nobody's watching anybody. Parents are letting children do whatever it is they want to do just so that they can have some peace of mind. But this child is in the room, plotting stuff or just trying to get access to what they gotta like me. They gotta like, I don't know where that came from, where they gotta like me. This mindset, I need to get likes, and it's so bad until, we're riding in the car and these children are, what the heck did you, just so that you could do a TikTok so that people can like you. You look like you're losing your mind. You look like it's bad, what is wrong with you? Just so that somebody can like me. Mom and dad are not watching and they have no idea, how many times I remember back in the day, mom would pop in, my mom was one of those people, kick the door open. What you doing? Door back. I had this fear, this concern that at any moment, mom could show up at the school. Mom would come in the room and, bust the door open. She catch me doing stuff. These children have no fear. They'll stand right in front of you and do something. We had respect for not just our parents, the neighbors, at any moment, anybody could see you. These children will curse and tell you, the kids said such and such. Right? And I'm going, wow, did you, having major adult conversations and it doesn't matter who's nearby. They're on the bus, they're on the train, speaking, there's no fear. That fear has been removed. And so they're comfortable doing whatever it is that they want, even if it takes them or someone else out.
Okay. Pastor Kale, why? Why are we here? What has gotten us here?
And we keep on saying what has gotten us here. We've always been stupid. We've seen the people that used to ride on the back of the bus, jump on the very back of it and just hang on. That was the stupidest thing for me. We've seen people who ride, on the side of the train as the train is going, they're holding on while it's all still on the platform. These are the stupidest things. I agree with whoever talked about parenting. Parents are not parenting anymore. Children are having children. So the children are stupid, raising stupid children. If you go on my post, I put a post up a couple of days ago that just because you're watered does not mean you're growing. You know what I mean? If you're stuck if you're a plant and you're stuck in a pot, I don't care how much water you give that pot, you're not growing because there's nothing for you to stretch out to. Now we're stretching out to the street. And that's the only way seemingly we can grow because there's no one in the house that's speaking into our very existence. Somebody said they're not looking at the social media. Listen, my children could not be on a Facebook if you didn't friend me. You had to friend me. My children could not have a phone past 9 o'clock. It had to be on my dresser. Forget about my children, me having to go kick in a door because you had no door. the door either stayed open or it stayed off the hinges. So we keep on talking about children got feelings. I always say you have feelings when you move. Then you can deal with all the feelings you want. But in my house, you have no feelings. You have no rights. You have no say.
Okay, interesting. I want to touch that one. All right. So Pastor Kale has said this numerous times on this broadcast. My kids have no feelings until they moved out. They had no feelings until they moved out. I'm not saying right or wrong. My question is, what say you? Is that smothering the child? We've been told that that's smothering the child's growth and personality and authenticity and where they can go. And we've got people like Pastor KL that says, listen, you can grow, but your biggest growth gonna come from when you leave here. Tamika, let's start with you. Is it the kids have no thought until they have no feelings until they leave the house?
I think that we need to give our children some freedom, but in general, be a parent. Be a real parent. Check those phones. Not able to hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, I thought I saw Vivian push her finger to her ear. No, but we have to, do our due diligence. Check and see what's going on. I really, I used to give my mother a hard way to go about certain things, but in actuality, it taught me. I grew. The busting the door down at times was, sometimes it was needed. Just like when you hear children, your child. Your child's activity. Even when they're little, they're quiet. As a real parent, that child doing something. The child is in the kitchen, in the cookie jar doing something. 9 times out of 10, they're doing something that you told them not to do. And so you have to do extra duty as a parent to double check on your children. Give them the luxury of having to do them. But when they start doing stuff and they start shifting off, then it's your point to be able to get right up on them. If it's not you, your neighbor, your friend, but you've got to do due diligence, and the village needs to be the real village. A lot of that, we don't want anybody else to parent our child, but you can't always see everything, and sometimes you need that. All of that we lost in the years that have passed prior to the pandemic, we need to put those right back out there.
Okay. Akusa says, exactly. Let's look at who the parents are and who the grandparents are or were. Generations of foolishness. And remember, the grandparents are much younger now. Pastor KL always talks about, grandmama ain't big mama. Tamika always talks about grandmama ain't big mama no more. All right. Brother Al, Pastor KL says, listen, living in my house, you ain't got no feelings until you leave. What say you?
I would say you have to give a little leeway, and I would say because I was that kid that didn't get that leeway, and when I finally got in the street, I was a wild man. First thing happened when I got freedom, a girl got pregnant. So I think you should give some of that leeway and definitely monitor. I know a lot of parents, like what Tamika said, a lot of parents, they come home, the kid is doing that. Yeah, go in the room and play your video game. And they think they're playing games, not knowing they're on social media. They're watching things they got no business watching. And the parent doing whatever and thinking he playing video game, but he all on watching craziness. And, that's happening with my nephew, who I spoke about some time before in here. He has custody of his kids, and, and he's not ready to be a parent. He gets mad at me, and I said, well, I tell you what, I'm gonna tell you, take it or you don't. And all he do is send his kids to the room and let them play video games. And then my sister, the grandmother, found him online looking at some things he ain't got no business, because all you do is just send him to the room and you don't go check on him. He in there for hours. You won't go check on him. You call, hey, you want something to eat? All right, come on down and eat. Then he go back to whatever he doing. So I say give leeway, but you have to monitor your children and get out of it. And some parents are in so denial. I had it happen at the school. And I had to tell a parent, listen, did you act the same way around your friends that you did around your parents? No. So what makes you think your child is different? We all act different when we're around our friends and our parents, So it's monitoring and stand up on what your children are doing.
Hey, brother Al, I got a question for you, brother Al, because you just said something that I'm kind of confused. You said that you didn't have leeway, but the first time you got out, you bust out, you got somebody pregnant. So what would be the leeway for your parents to allow you to have a young lady spend the night at the house? I
No,
mean, what would be the leeway?
to let me go outside. All I did was play basketball. I couldn't go outside. I couldn't do nothing. It just, when I got freedom to get outside, I just was sitting out. I wasn't going and doing nothing crazy, but I would sit outside right in front of the project on the bench till 1 o'clock in the morning just because I had that freedom to be outside. You know what I'm saying? So my dad, it's summertime. We know during the summer, it started getting dark about 9 o'clock. 6:30, I had to be in the house. That's how I started getting good at music, because I tried to say, wow, I'm not a bad kid. All I do is play basketball. I don't run around and do nothing else. Everybody know me. My dad can look out the window and see me in the back of the project on the basketball court. But 6:30, I had to be in the house. I got tired of lying to my friends. Every time I looked at that watch, hey, I gotta go do something for my mother. I gotta go do something for my father. I gotta go do something for my brother. I started running out of family members. So and I used to sit back and say, wow, I'm not one of them kids that's running around doing craziness. Why am I being punished? I felt it was being punished. So when I got that freedom to be outside, I wasn't going to run around with anybody. I just was sitting outside just because I had the freedom. So I think, we should give some leeway. Now, you running my household all that craziness? No, sir. You get, like I said, you going to keep closing your door when I tell you not to? I'm going to take the door off the hinges. We ain't got no door now. So we ain't got to worry about you closing. I'm saying do those things, but I also think that it should give some little freedom in there.
So I'm still lost, because that was what I was waiting for you to finish talking, because I had the question as well. So when you got out, you went and had sex and got somebody pregnant.
Right.
What would have been the difference? I'm still a little lost.
Well, because what happened, why?
Did you get the answer? Because I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Because what y'all focusing on is the getting pregnant. That was just an incident. It could not be.
But that's what you said.
I know. I'm saying that was an incident that happened for me. It might not be that for the next person. They might run out and just start running wild with their friends. You see what I'm saying? That was just an incident that happened, on my end. I'm not saying, okay, if my dad would have said, okay, you could go date the girl and it's okay. No, it just, I got out there and got wild because I was held down. That's just like you put an animal in a cage. You never let this dog out of that cage. And now you finally take that dog out, take it to the park. What do? He run wild because you don't let him out of that cage.
Okay. Shanti says she understands you, but I'm sorry. I ain't taking Shanti's word for nothing. Just work on your switch.
Shanti.
Work on your switch tip.
You leave Shanti alone.
Shanti says parents kept kids captive, not teaching balance, and then just let them free with no guidance. Okay, I get it. I get it. He's making a lot of sense. That's what parents did. I get it.
Thank you, Shanti. Love you.
I get it. All right. Vivian, Pastor KL says you have no feelings until you leave the house. What's your take on that? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
It's a bad thing in my opinion, because if they have no feelings until they leave the house, then when they leave the house, they don't know how to deal with those feelings. And that's why a lot of us are dealing with these childhood traumas at adult ages and struggling to, express ourselves, and things that should have been taught to us when we were younger, but because there were rules like be seen and not heard, blah, 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 that type of stuff, now we're struggling with these things today. So I think if we're teaching our kids proper ways to deal with their feelings while they're in our care, then when they get older, they'll have better tools to deal with them at an adult age. But if it's like, shut up, you ain't got no feelings, or your feelings don't matter, then how are they learning to deal with these things at a young age?
Okay. Pastor KL, what does you don't have no feelings till you leave mean?
Okay, so I don't feel that. I don't feel what you said was right. Don't matter. Why I got to do this? I feel that we should do it this way. It don't matter. It don't matter. This is what I know, that you started off talking about the real world. In the real world, on real jobs and real situations, they don't care about your feelings. These are the rules we have to do. Al can have a bunch of rules and love all the children, but when they tell him to do something, if he want to get paid and stay at that job, he got to do it. Your feelings really don't matter. Your opinions don't matter in structure. Listen. How many times your children or your grandchildren say, "But why? But why? I don't think that's fair. I don't care what you think is fair." My job is to save your life. My job is when you leave here, you know how to cook, you know how to clean, you know how to take care of yourself. You ain't got to come home and run back and have mama wash your clothes or have daddy do. No, my job is to form structure. And in the beginning, you have to wash on, wash off, wash on, wash off. You may not understand what the wash on and wash off is, but you'll understand it better by and by.
Woo! Shanti says, so kids find relief and a safe haven if your feelings don't matter. It's smacking them everywhere they go. Pastor KL?
I'm not smacking you. Listen. Go to grandma.
No,
that's
he
what.
Said, not literally smacking them with your hand.
No, I understand. But just wait. How can we talk about the real world and we want to cushion what the real world is? We keep on stroking folks and say, "Okay, baby, it's gonna be all right." And then when you get into the real world, Mama ain't tell me about this. Daddy ain't tell me about this. No, I have to prepare you for the real world. Listen, boot camp, when you go into the army or any type of military, they train you to fight, because the real world is that somebody's gonna be shooting back at you. That's the real world. So what? When are we gonna start teaching them? When they go to school and get bullied? No, my mama told me if somebody hits you, pick up a chair. You know what? That's the real world. We don't come back home and say, "Hey, what should I do now?" No, I'm preparing you before you leave. If somebody looks like they want to hit you and hit you, pick up the table. The whole table. The whole table. The real world.
Okay. Viv, you had your hand up. What you got?
Yes, I was saying, in the instance of going to work, if you're not teaching your kids how to properly express their thoughts, their ideas, their feelings, then when they go to work, you have those employees that go off on the manager because their feelings didn't matter to the point to where now they're blowing up. But if you're teaching them, this is how you properly express your thoughts, this is how you properly express your feelings, then they can go to work and properly talk to the manager or the owner or whoever's a higher up and be able to express themselves before it gets to a point to where they picking up the cash register and hitting, like going off. So it is the real world to teach the kids. This is how you properly express yourself. This is how you properly handle this. You have an idea? Okay, let's talk about this idea. Now that you've been able to flush it out, now we can say, okay, what
it don't
your
matter.
idea doesn't fit this instance, but maybe we can try it this way, or allow them to even try their idea and fail. And then, that's how they develop problem solving skills as well. But if it's always shut up, it don't matter, then they're not able to develop these skills that they need in the real world.
Vivian talking like a true teacher. That's a true teacher.
Right, a true teacher. True teacher. Right there. A true teacher. Listen, a teacher with no children. A teacher with no children. A teacher.
I would like to let Pastor.
What does that mean? Hold on. What does that mean?
Because when you have children, you understand the craziness. Listen, I allowed my children to express themselves, They can say whatever they want to say. But at the end,
It
you know
didn't matter.
how they preach? At the end, it don't
It didn't
matter. But you can express yourself. So you got
Well,
expression. You develop expression skills, debating skills, but it didn't matter.
well, I would like to let Pastor Kel know I do not follow the rules in school. That's why I get so much respect. I don't follow none of their rules. Tamika tell you, I don't follow those crazy rules because if I follow those rules, man, them kids will be running all over me. They'll be doing this and that. No stuff.
Okay.
Don't follow.
Okay.
All right. So Shantice wants to give up her switch tip time because she wants to join the conversation.
Lord Jesus.
Here we
Lord,
go.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Yo,
I'm
this
leaving.
girl, this conversation is so compelling. She said, I'm giving up my switch tip time because I got to join this conversation. All right, Shantice.
I was having a feeling like God was like, we told to switch tip for this morning, but I thought it was just me until I kept hearing. So, everything that Vivian just broke down is 100% correct. I am all for
Jesus, my lady.
not having the rod, hanging the child upside down. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. At the same time, we are living in a world of supermarket shooters, movie theater shooters, home raid shooters, school shooters, block shooters, bathroom shooters. They shoot up everything because they were not taught to have a balance. There are times I have an 11-year-old niece, and we are taught to teach her what it means to flush out, stop whispering and speak up. There are times when it's time for you to explain yourself. There are times when it's time for you to shut up. But you need to learn this discernment from 8. It started at 8. Learn to have the discernment as to when it's time to say, I don't understand, please explain, or when it's time to fall back and let the Holy Spirit work his way in you in your alone time, especially as a child. If you do not teach these children how to discern the world, first of all, the problem is parents ain't teaching them how to discern themselves nor the parents. So now they get out here amongst teachers, other faculty, the janitor, bus drivers, train conductors, and everybody else, other peers, and they don't know how to act nor react because everything is just shut up, shut up, shut up. And the explosion does happen. I've watched it happen. I've watched it happen when I was in school. I'm watching it happen as an adult, and I'm looking down at the little people. It happens. Why? And you don't have to ask no questions, because when God allows you to meet the parents, you see where the dysfunction starts. There goes the foundation. They don't know how to properly speak. They don't know the discernment as to when to speak and when not to speak. So if it's just this whole shut up, it don't matter, you ain't got no feelings. This is why at 40, I can't get no man, because nobody taught this man how to have feelings at 4. At 14, at 24, no, at 34, and now he's 40. Now, it's like we can raise these men. Nobody wants to invest in teach them.
You're 100% correct. I mean, listen. So while I say what I say, I agree with you when you say in these times, this is what's going on. You're correct. Now, this is what I would say, that it's like that because of you, and not you directly, but because of your age and the age under us. You guys have created this. You created this mess because in the Al's and in the mine and in Steph's age, when they told us to shut up, we shut up. And look at us now. We're still doing pretty well. I ain't killed nobody. I ain't shoot nobody. I ain't run over nobody. But I've learned when to shut up. But because you and your counterparts and the people under you want to be friends because you didn't like the way you was treated, even though you turned out great, you didn't like the way you was treated, so I'm not going to treat mine that way. Look what you're doing. It's just your fault. But you're right. This is the world we live in. But why are we living in this? We didn't do that in my age.
Not only say my generation sucks, but okay, go ahead.
All right, got Koya joining in. Thank you, Koya, for joining us this morning. She says, good morning, all. Speak the truth, Shantice. Okay.
She must be 12.
No, she's another millennial who's raised by two well-rounded, level-headed parents. And as I'm the first to say, our generation is trash as a whole. You have your exceptions as a whole. At the same time, with a lot of millennials I know, I've been able to have a sneak peek into the ones who raised them. And they ain't all wrapped too tight either. So it's not always because I was raised in this prestigious home, but I just despised the discipline so much. It was really, even now as an adult, a lot of parents think you still don't have to parent me. No, you don't have to parent me in a certain way, but you're still my parent. But I still get to see that how they're parenting you at 35, 40, 45 years old is how they didn't parent you right at 3, 4, and 20 years old either. There was no real balance given. So that's why now at 40, if they do speak to their parents still don't know what kind of advice to give, because you didn't know what kind of advice to give them when they were an infant, a toddler, an adolescent, a teenager, and a young adult. You didn't know nothing. So it's not only the millennials. A lot of these X-generation people really twisted too. And it's a lot of stuff. Listen, if it applies, it applies. If you're strong, it makes it sure.
I get that. I get that. Unfortunately, we have, again, and I've said that on this channel before, where we have the yous and Vivians who are split. You have we came from a generation of just be seen and not heard, and we didn't war against it. I know I heard Vivian say, be seen and not heard. We didn't war against it. These days and times, you war it against be seen and not heard. And unfortunately, again, there's no balance. So we were taught to be seen and not heard, but we picked up some things along the way. Mm-hmm. It's now be seen and not heard. That's all you hear. And now it's a war. There's no balance as to say, well, there's a reason why I'm been told to be seen and not heard. Okay, we would never. If there were adults talking in the room, if you walked up in, you about to say what you got to say real quick and be up out of there. You didn't walk in. You gonna stand there. And then you're going to listen. And then you're going to, no. But it seems like there's a breakdown. There's been a breakdown along the way. When I think about the things that we were told to do and the things, if we were to relay those same things now, the reception of it all. There's a breakdown in the reception of it. It is just this battle of I just don't want to be told. That's what I'm seeing. I don't want to be disciplined. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't care who it is. I don't care how much sound advice it is. It doesn't matter. I'm just being told what to do. Now, maybe y'all don't see it like that. But I think about Pastor KL talks about the way we were raised. Tamika talks about it a lot. The way she was raised, and it worked, because opposed to you just being mad, I have never seen a group of more mad people. You ain't long enough to be mad. You're mad. That wasn't our mentality, and I'll be honest, we didn't all have it that great either. We didn't have it that great. There was no, our homes were perfect and our parents were perfect. But there's just this war going on now where if you're told, even if it's sound advice, you're being told what to do, and there's an immediate kickback on everything. We've got a comment from Koya. I'm in my 40s and was raised correctly. I have till this day a healthy fear of my parents. My mother always said, "You represent me in these streets, act accordingly." I never played games with my parents. That's and that's the way, like I said, that's the way we were raised. We were told. My father always told me, whenever you leave the house, somebody's watching you. Always remember, you represent this family, and somebody's watching you. Don't ever think you're not being watched. Somebody's watching you. Make sure you're always on your best behavior, because somebody's watching you, and you're always representing this family. I was always told that. But it seems that's where there's the breakdown. That's why Pastor KL always brings up, like Tamika said, when she was growing up, her mother bust the door open. I wish you would bust a door open to a kid now. When we were growing up, we weren't allowed for our doors to be closed, and so did Pastor KL said the same thing. Brother Al said the same thing. They didn't play that. Now, that's my door. You don't pay rent, that's not your door. But that is wrong.
Right.
That's wrong to say. Don't tell them it's not their door. You don't pay rent. It's not your door. It's my door. It's my rules. It's not for me. It's not that you don't have a feeling, but it's something. There's a serious breakdown. That even though you may try to use the same rules, I use the rules on Shanti and Shawnice. Those are my millennials. Using them same rules with Tamaja, there's a breakdown.
Well, Pastor Steph, where the breakdown comes at is society have now given these kids rights. Like, you can't say nothing to these kids, and the parents are scared. I've had so many parents who's like, well, I can't say nothing because they'll call and I'll go to jail. So now they sit back and don't say that. See, we don't care about that. We have the kids that, even with the basketball, I'm moving away from basketball because I made a decision to move away from coaching basketball now, because they even changed the rules in that. Like, we would get the kids in the gym, and there's a drill that we have called suicide. They run up and down the court. You can't say that anymore. Okay, basketball is a sport where you enter the sport. I'm quite sure everybody, not even just basketball, football, whatever. You see a coach on the side and a kid might miss a play. You're like, oh, come on, man, come on, let's get it. You cannot do that. So as a coach, I got to sit there like this. I cannot do that because I'm emotional about the game. I'm not putting the kid down. I'm not cursing at the kid. Come on, man, play defense. You can do better than that. If I do that, I get written up, and they said that I can lose the job. So the society is taking away so much of rights away from the parents. The parents are getting scared now. Well, if I do this, I'm going to go to jail. If I do this, then you got parents like us. Well, you know what? Put me in jail. Because then when I get out, I'm going to get them again. You better get them away from them. But you got the parents that's so fearful now. And Vivian can tell you, they're fearful that they're not that they're scared of the kid. They're scared I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to go to jail. Because that's what society is doing now. That's why even with the basketball, New York ball player. New York, when I was growing up, was the mecca of basketball. People traveled all over the world to come play against New York players. Now we at the bottom of the barrel because we're the only state that does this. So they don't even recruit our kids. We got kids that are good basketball players. They don't get recruited to these good schools because they got no discipline. Because as soon as I try to discipline them in practice, they telling me, oh, you wrong. You got to leave practice. You're going to lose your job. So I said, you know what? I sat back and I looked. I said, I've had a great career. I done won Coach of the Year twice. I done won championships on every level. I done did almost everything. So you know what? It's time for me to bow out gracefully because I'm going to get in trouble because I'm not following them dumb rules. So that's where the breakdown at. Right there. They taking the rights away from the parents, and the parents are just scared. I'm going to get in trouble.
I also think it's a level of comfortability that has been presented as well by the parents. You present yourself as a friend, as a peer. Mm-hmm. And then when you wake up and decide you want to give some level of authority, and then you act all flabbergasted that they ain't paying you no mind because they look at you like you the other one who just learned how to color in between the lines. I thought you was my homie. What you mean clean my room? What you mean don't close my door? What you mean don't slam my door? What you mean You shouldn't have to knock when you come in. You're my peer. But again, that goes back to because no one wants to really take the time to discipline anymore. Discipline takes energy. It takes effort. It means being intentional. It means standing up to the position that you're supposed to have. And it means being okay with your kid hating you sometimes. And I tell kids all the time, if you love your parent all that much, something wrong. Something wrong. So you never get mad at your mother. You never thought about how hard you could smack the back of her head. It's okay. It's me you talking to. I ain't got to repeat this. But you never thought about that. She's not parenting correctly. You don't think about that with your father. He's not parenting correctly. Especially when you hit that 12, 13 teenage mark. Because they are supposed to be going against everything you inevitably desire and want to do. You don't even understand the desires you're going to have as a teenager. You don't even understand the rebellion you're about to walk into. So they're definitely not prepared for it. And their job is to stand, as they say in the streets, and I hate this, 10 toes down. Shut up. Their job, I hate that song. Their job is to stand firm on who they are supposed to be as your parent. And even if that means you don't like them, guess what? If God chooses to wake you both up in the morning, you'll get up, eat Cheerios, and be on for the next day of being mad. You'll be all right. But if you love them all that much, then something is wrong. So I think in addition, Brother Alice, to what you said too, I think it's just way too much comfortability on both ends that the parent, of course, has to establish first. Because as a child, even as an adult child, you still need that reminder from time to time. But if the parent ain't willing to always be on point, not meaning that the parent will be flawed, but if the parent isn't always willing to, okay, let me snap back in, then there goes the blurred lines and the downfall right there.
Yeah, okay. And I'm quite sure Vivian can vouch for it. These parents sometimes, man, and they take up, and their kid be dead. I had a kid was cutting class, and I caught her cutting class. I said, "Oh, you getting detention." So, of course, we have to call the parent. Hey, listen, your daughter was cutting class, and I'm going to give her detention. The mother begged me, "Oh, well, Mr. B, can you give her another chance?" I said, "No, she's not getting another chance, but she won't do it again." I said, "I'm quite sure after she do this detention." And because I wouldn't give in, the mother was like, "Oh, well, my child not doing detention." I said, "But then maybe your child is in the wrong school, because here, this is our rule. You cannot tell us how to do the rules in our school." Next thing I know, I get called to the office. "Oh, Mr. Bam, you can't talk to the parent like that." I said, "So why you put me on the case then?" "Do not put me on the case." I said, "Because I'm going to stand my ground." I said, "She cut class. She needs detention. Now, if y'all don't want to do detention, do your part. I'm going to write it up and say, I did this, and y'all refuse." I said, "But don't put me in the nonsense then. Y'all don't call me to the meeting." So that's another thing, too. These parents, they kid be dead wrong. Like them kids out there in the, Chicago. I'm gonna be by my child's side, but you did wrong. Oh, you gotta pay. I'm gonna be right with you in the court, and whatever the court say, that's what it is. You're gonna learn today is what it said.
All right, what are we telling our parents and our viewers and listeners, in regards to, hey, we got a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. And that somebody is you. Lady Tamika, how we going out of here today?
You have to be 100% vigilant with your children. You need those one-on-one times, if you've got multiple times, multiple children, every now and then do a mom and child day, find out what's going on, check their phones, at this point, you have to, I remember, going through that era of "'cause I said so." But "'cause I said so," eventually I learned. You can't just say "'cause I said so" and that's it. These children now, you have to explain, okay, what is what "'cause I said so" mean? They get out in the world and now it's just "'cause I said so." Find out, what the rules are, and make sure that you have a cultured village that condones and does the same thing that you do. You don't want to have friends that are doing all kinds of stuff, and then when your child goes over there, they got rules, they got this thing that they do that you don't know anything about. Make sure that your circle is the right circle that cultivates exactly what you're teaching your children, so that when you do take those days and release, that they're having that reinforcement, and get into the protocol. Find out what's going on in the schools. Get a one-on-one with your teachers and your staff, so that if I remember in my childhood, if I got out of line, there was nothing wrong with the teacher getting in contact with my mother to let them know, hey, your child is going out of. A lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of that groundwork is not done. So when your child acts up, trust me, if your child is acting up at school, they're acting up at home, they're acting up wherever they go. And if you're not doing your due diligence, checking their phone, getting in line with their teachers, making sure that their circle is the right thing, then unfortunately you're doing an injustice by your child. And unfortunately, it becomes the end result. These type of things is what happens. Shootings and gang activity and beating up on students and parents, or being a part of it. Even just being in the circle. If I saw you in the video, just standing by, even if you were in it, we had one of those things where, oh, I'm not going there because I know what they're getting ready to do. I don't even want to be a part of that. As a child, this is the stuff that you cultivate so that when you're out in that type of circle, in that setting, that you're not even found on the video.
All right. Thank you. Vivian, what are we telling these parents? Listen, it's a job that has to be done. Somebody's got to do it. And that somebody is you.
Yes, you are not raising your children for you. You are raising your children for the world. They are eventually going to leave your house, whether that's school hours or whether that's when they get old and they move out. If you're not training up a child in the way that they should go, then you are setting them up for failure. There has to be a balance. It cannot be an extreme this way or that way. There needs to be a balance. So you need to teach your children how to maneuver, how to live, how to get out there in the real world. Because in the house, they might get beat if they say something or look at you the wrong way. In the real world, once they go to school, teachers can't put hands on kids. So now we're dealing with what you're dealing with, but we can't deal with it how you deal with it. So you're not raising your children for yourself. You're raising your children for the world. So keep that in mind, please. Keep that in mind.
Amen. Thank you. Brother Al, what say you? How are we going up out of here? Somebody's got to do it, and that somebody is you.
Stop trying to be your child's friend. Okay, it's good to have a good relationship, but stop trying to put them equal to you as they are your friend, and keep in mind it takes a village to raise them. So you have to do your part. I'm doing my part at the school. You got to do your part at home and collaborate with me. Okay. We fight these parents to come to the meetings to see what your kids is doing. We shouldn't have to fight you to come to the meeting and see what's going on at the school, what program we got, what your child is doing. We had to get to the point that after school program, if you miss a meeting, your child's out of the program. Right. Now, we can't throw you out of the school, but your child will be out of that program. We shouldn't have to do that. Come down and see what your child is doing. Show them that, hey, I'm supporting you. Hey, you know what? I'm talking to Mr. Bynum and see how everything is going, which we're working together. And I do have some parents doing that, and it's a good thing, but those are things that we have to do. Stop just sending you come in, you tired from work. I understand. Stop just sending your child, okay, well, just go to the room and play your video game. I have dinner ready in about an hour. Stop doing that. Talk to your child. Hey, how was your day at school today? If anything went down in school today, and and talk to them, show them, hey, you know what? It's okay to come talk to me. You know what? You made a mistake. Come talk to me about it. Let's see how we can fix that and rectify that. So, just be more, have it where your kid can feel comfortable saying, hey, Dad, you know what, man, I got in this fight today at the school and, the kid was in my face, so I punched him, Oh, okay, so what made this happen? You talking to that kid. So those are things that you need to do, and we can get this together because the enemy is on the attack. He want our little children. We older. He said, okay, they old. I need some young blood. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would leave it at.
All right. Thank you. Shantice, how we closing up this thing?
Remembering that these babies belong to God first, and you are the one or the ones that God chose to be stewards over these children. Mm-hmm. If you do not tap into Him as to how to deal with your child, you will fail every time. you can't even treat your same kids the same way. So you cannot try to follow the blueprint of another parent or what social media says or what Dr. Phil said. And all that. Dr. Phil ain't tapping into Jesus for you. Develop your own relationship with God so that he can give you the blueprint for you and as to who your child is and what tactics your child needs. Stop thinking your child doesn't need God, because when I watched that PSA, tears just came to my eyes. I'm like, the devil is stopping at nothing to devour your child. You got people who are telling these kids to get up at 4 a.m. to watch horror movies. That's how it starts. And then the end result was to convince them to get to the top of a bridge and jump off and or slit their wrists. And these kids are doing it. Why? Because you're not on point. So don't let anyone else lie to you and say it's not your fault. If you're not tapping into God, and you can. If you've done everything you can do, that's one thing. If you're being lackadaisical and it's all about you and mama gotta have a life too and all of that, then you have to understand that you need to be there for your child is relying on you to be on point for them. And that's what we all need to really walk away with. But as Brother Al said, forget being their friends. No matter how rebellious your kid act, they are relying on you to keep them in line for their life, so that when God spares their life, they become adults. They will have the blueprint and they can choose on their own which way they want to go. But as his word says, train up a child in the ways of the Lord, and they will return to it. They will. But if you don't give them that, what do you expect for them to do? So make sure you're on point and in tune with God so that you can collaborate with God as to how to be the parent your child or your children need.
Amen. Thank you. And thank you, my Due Time crew. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
You too. Have a good day, everyone.
Pastor Steph, real quick, Pastor Steph. Thank you for beating Shantice. She grew up real nice.
Yeah. And I always sometimes just randomly walk up to her and say thank you. So pay attention, people. Have a good day.
Thank you. Woo! Where do you go from there? I mean, Tamika said great things. Viv said great things. Brother Al said great things. Shanti said great things. Where do you go from there? Wow. I was thinking, I'm like, they said everything I was going to say. How do you close such an important segment? And I don't know, if you've been hanging out with us, you'll see that these conversations are shifting. They are getting so much deeper than they have ever been here on this Due Time. You know, it's longer. We're past the 9 o'clock hour, and we're grateful that you're still hanging out with us. That means that we're saying something that you feel you need to hear, whether you agree or whether you disagree, but you're hanging out with us. And I cannot say thank you enough. Koya says, my parents raised me exactly the way they were raised. And that's all Pastor KL is actually saying when he says, you don't have any feelings. You know, that's pretty much what he was saying. You know, I did not weigh in on whether you have feelings while you're at home. And I was trying to really think as they were talking, how did I handle my children? You know, as everybody knows, you know, I always talk about I have 3 girls. I have 2 millennials, 40 Shantis, and a 35-year-old. And then I have a 27-year-old. And that by far is my child. That's the challenge. That 27-year-old, because she is coming up in the technological area where, you know, they're different and they're thinking differently. And some of the stuff that I've told Shantice and my other daughter, you know, excuse me, I can't, when I say the same thing, it doesn't get the same response. But Stephanie being Stephanie, I'm standing my ground because this is how I was raised. This is what I was raised on. And I'm not budging because I know what I'm telling you is going to save your life. But here's the thing that I always tell my girls. I said, listen, you have been raised with an extra blessing. You've been raised by a mom who did not know the Lord as her personal savior. However, I was raised in church. So a lot of the principles that I lived by were godly principles, despite the fact that I did not claim God. Unlike the youngest, who for the majority of her life, I've been a Christian mom. Now, it's not until these last 10 years that it has become increased that I'm uncompromisingly serving God. And I never compromised, but as God is exposing more and more to me, I'm understanding how important this is. Just that's why I said, I wanted to push that, that challenge of, the Blue Well Challenge is 15 years old. What does that mean? What does that mean? We're not doing it anymore. It's outdated. And then that's why I was glad when I was sent this whole perception of, but this is some journalism explosion. It's really not what you think it is. Well, by far, the Bible tells us that the enemy has come to do one thing: to kill, steal, and destroy. And if you have paid any attention to the news, as it gets, as we go further and further into time, these children are getting worse and worse and worse. They are also challenged with things that we weren't challenged with. We didn't have certain things that were exposed to us. We didn't have certain influences. We weren't as influenceable. You know what I'm saying? We weren't believing everything. We didn't join everything. I remember my grandmother used to always say, "You can't gallop with the gang." And I didn't know what that meant for the longest time, when my mother just kept it nice and simple. Don't be a follower. You better be a leader. My grandmother used to always say, "You can't gallop with the gang." And as I got older, I understood that you can't go along with what everybody else is doing. That's how, it translated into, you're going to jump off the bridge if everybody else is jumping off the bridge, and you're going to follow everybody that, everything that everybody else does. So although I got, two different terminologies, they ultimately meant the same thing. We did not have those things because we didn't have social media. We were limited, as to what we were exposed to. Now, yeah, there can be TikTok challenges and all of these things. However, you as a parent, you as a guardian, are responsible as to what you are exposing your children to. Because they can very well have phones and social media, but still be limited the same way we were limited. Now, there are some ways that, this is a help, social media and the World Wide Web, I should say, is a blessing. But for the most part, for our young people, it is not a blessing. It is something that the enemy is using to tear our children apart. And we can see evidence of it. We can clearly see evidence of it. The stuff that we are hearing about now, this not just bullying, because when we were growing up, bullying is timeless. However, this community bullying at this level, one of the things that Vivian and Shantice talked about as millennials was, look at the millennials that are raising our children. And we saw that one of the person who threw the punch at the mom, when it was time to discipline her, and they thought they were doing this publicly, they did an extremely bad job. Had that been my mom on social media, and that little chick was smiling and smirking and fake tears, baby, my mother went in the ground ruling. There were certain things I just didn't play with her with. Certain things I wouldn't say to her. And when she spoke, I was paying attention, and there were no jokes. I wasn't smiling or nothing. And as Shantice said, she walks past me sometimes and says, "Thank you. I did that with my mother." I come from the same rules and regulations that Pastor KL came from. Listen, go over there and sit down. You better not be in grown folks' business. Don't be standing around looking at grown people's mouth. Be seen in our. I came from the same era. came from the same era. However, I looked at my mother, and I used to say, boy, I may not have understood when I was growing up, but I thank you. I thank you for being the parent you were. Thank you for being that. And my mother was a much bigger disciplinarian than my father was. Oh, she was the one that ran the house. It wasn't no wait till your father get home. No. That ain't the way my house worked. My mother ran things. And I said to her many a day, I was like, thank you. Thank you so much for just being who you were. You know, just not being afraid to tell me certain things, even if I didn't understand it. I get it now. You know, there were certain times when we would ask for things and she'd like, no. And it wasn't necessarily because she didn't have it. There were times that she didn't have it, but there were times when she had it. And the answer was just no. And as I got older, I understood. And she then told us later, listen, everything that you see, you don't need. You don't need everything. Try telling kids that these days. Try telling them that. That's because the reception is much different. They don't give, there's no room for the thank you. As soon as you tell your kids certain things, it's a war. And you know what? That's our nasty flesh, our nasty spirit, and by itself, and then compounded with when the enemy gets involved, and now there's all of this influence. Because there's plain and simply put, there's going to be certain times when the enemy ain't got nothing to do with this thing. It's your nasty flesh and spirit. There are other times when the enemy is going to add on and aggravate everything. But it is so important, as we said last week, Tuesday, and I beg you to please go back and listen to last week, Tuesday's episode. It was absolutely phenomenal, and we addressed some of this stuff. It is imperative that you do your job from birth. As it was said here today, we cannot wake up when they're 8 and 9, 12 and 15, and now we want to discipline, because now we have come to an awareness that, oh, I can't raise my child like this. Oh, you know, all that leniency has backfired. No. Set the rules from the beginning. You know, I did ask the question earlier, is there a difference between jail, prison, and the real world? You know, because the person who made the statement made a difference. And as I said earlier, there is no difference. In everything, there's a consequence. Everything. The word of God tells us, and unfortunately, we have taught our children that when we don't give them God, we teach them that the only consequence that they will face is civil and consequence on earth. We're not teaching them. When we don't give them God, we are not teaching them that God has a consequence for everything we do. Yes, he will throw your sins in the sea of forgetfulness, but that does not mean that you will not have to pay for what you've done. Everything comes with a payment plan. Ooh. Everything comes with a payment plan. Sometimes the payment will be in installments, and sometimes it will be a one-shot deal. But nevertheless, everything you do comes with a payment. Now, will you make the decision of how this payment is made because of what you do? Based on what you do, it will be a reward, or it will be a punishment. That's the only way it's going to work. That's the real world. So I always say to you, we either babysit our kids and discipline them now, or there will be a larger entity that will discipline them whether we want to or not. And here's what happened with Brother Al. When they said, hey, you know what? She didn't do this, so there's a penalty of detention. And mom called and said, please give her another chance. Well, clearly, mom's given a whole lot of chances at home, and she tried that nonsense at school, and it didn't work. Because I can guarantee you that there was not a smashing of disciplinary action in the school. No, there's always something you did and you got away with it, so you pushed the envelope, and she couldn't push it anymore. Instead of mom just stand in the ground of the school and say, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with this. I heard what I needed to hear. Shantice always tells a story that when a teacher called and they gave an explanation of what happened and that my daughters didn't act correct, and Shantice is like, yes, I didn't do that. And she said, but we would get punished just in case. Yup, by all means. Because if there's somewhere along the line where it may have been all the way the teacher said, but you did something, because guess what? You know yours. Oh, I promise you at your heart, you know yours. And I was always on those three, and still am. I'm watching everything you do. And when a teacher speaks, I already know whether they're talking from actuality and fact, or whether there's some level of fiction going on. And I'm going to tell you something. I may not have agreed that it may have been as extreme as that teacher said, but trust me when I tell you, somewhere in there's some truth. And I'm going to deal with you based on if it's 1% truth, because they had to call here at all, or I had to go to that school and visit. You going to deal with that 1% that I had to deal with. Because see, when I give you what I give and you leave up out of here, I don't want to hear nothing. Nothing. I don't care whether I was perfect or not. Don't be throwing back what I did. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I had to pay for my consequences, and you will have to pay for yours. Whether I got away with my sins when I was your age or not, that ain't got nothing to do with you. You're going to have to deal with whatever you do. So I was never the parent who also listened to, well, you did it. I wish I would hear some garbage like that. You teach your child from now that there are consequences to a reward in everything they do. And I promise you, you just might get a little different result. You just might. I always talk about the difference between my older two and my youngest. But one of the things that I did love about my youngest that I did not get from my older two was she would always come back and she would apologize. Yeah, it may take a minute, but she gonna come back. The older two didn't necessarily do that. But she would come back and she would let you know that she got it. She may not have gotten it in the beginning. It may have given you some, resistance, but she would always come back. There was always something she came back and brought you. And that was important to me. That let me know that despite the fact that I would get a resistance from her that I didn't get from the other two, that I had to keep going. Today, she has given her life to the Lord, and we are watching a change in her. And I am so grateful to God for that. That I didn't give up. That I didn't say, hey, well, you know what, it ain't working. It worked for Shantice and Shawnee's, but it ain't working for Tamasia. No, I stuck to my guns. And as a mother of a 40-year-old, a 35-year-old, and a 27-year-old, I'm still sticking to my guns. I give them hell. If it is not balancing with the word of God, whether they agree or whether they don't, I give them hell. And I am not compromising on that at all, ever. So come on, there's a job for us to do. Somebody's got to do it, and that somebody is you. God is going to hold us accountable for every time we sat back and crossed our legs and folded our arms and watch it happen, opposed to standing up and doing what we need to do. But what's going to arm you is the Lord. That Bible arms me with everything I do and everything I say. And I'm telling you, even at 40, 35, and 27, they don't always agree. And they get mad. But I stand by the word of God, because in that you will never go wrong. The word of God says, keep this ever before them in season and out of season. I don't care nothing about you being an adult. So what? We stop learning because we're adults? No, I deem it a blessing. I deem it a blessing to not only show you my love as a mother, but to show you the love that I have for your soul. See, I don't just love you and pacify you because you're my daughter. I want to see you make it into the kingdom when Jesus returns. I love you more that way than I love you as a mother. But see, you can't express that or exemplify that if you don't have God as the head of your life. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to give your children God first. Why? Because they belong to Him first. They don't belong to you first. It don't matter how much you love them when you don't give them God. So your soul making it into the kingdom, you making it into the kingdom, God saying yes to you when the world is wrapped up is bigger to me than me loving you as a mother. I can love you like that more than I love the fact that I am seeing you grow in the Lord. That's bigger for me. So join the club. Give them God first and keep God ever before them first. And when we fail to do that, we fail to help them in the greatest way possible. Don't compromise. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us keep that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Let's Talk About It Tuesday Church Folk Day. Make sure you hang out with us for the rest of the week because it's a short week. All right, so you got to get everything you can. Until tomorrow, God spares. I love you.